Hey guys, this is Domics, and today I will be showing you how to color, or at least how I color, because you should already know how to color, unless you're like 2 years old and you're watching this, but you shouldn't be. So anyway, as you can see, I already have a character drawn here who we'll be working on in a sec. On the side we have the colors we'll be using to color him, and on the left I have 2 circles which I will explain in a little bit. So basically the tools I'll be using to color are the paintbrush, which you can use by pressing B as a shortcut. We have the bucket tool, which is K, the eyedrop tool, which is I, and the select tool, which is V. So just bring you to the side here for a sec, just to show how the tools kind of work. So we'll start with the brush tool, and on the side here you have your different settings. You can change the size, the stroke, and you can just play around with it. But by default, this setting should say paint normal. And what that basically is that whatever you paint, it'll just overlap anything that's previously or currently drawn. But the ones I normally use are paint normal, paint behind, and paint inside, but you can play around with the other settings. What paint behind does is that whatever you draw, it'll basically just draw underneath what's previously drawn and won't affect it. Alright, and then we have paint inside, in which you can paint inside a currently drawn object but not have to worry about affecting anything else. It'll just draw in that object. Alright, so that's basically it for the brush. I'll just keep it at paint normal, that size. Okay, now for the bucket tool, which is K, and as you can see with the circle, I can paint that normally because it's an enclosed object. But for this one, as you can see, there's a little gap right there, and if I try to paint, it won't let me, because basically in Flash you have an infinite space to draw, not just this little white area here. But yeah, you basically have to use the bucket tool inside an enclosed space. So I have 2 ways of getting around that. One is you could use the brush tool and just enclose that gap, but that's kind of messy, so I'm going to use the paint inside, and there. And then now you can just use the bucket tool, and then now it's painted. Or you can change the tolerance setting over here for the bucket tool, in which there's don't close gaps, close medium gaps, and close large gaps. You can go ahead and choose medium gaps, paint it, and it's painted. Just like that. Alright, so moving on to actually painting our character. I'm going to use the eyedrop and select the hair color. And then I'm going to go ahead and try to use close large gaps. And what happens here is that it painted most of the hair, but then it kind of left this because Flash kind of detected this as small gaps, not a large gap. And let's see what it does when it do medium gaps. It's better, but then as you can see, it kind of shows little missed spots. So you can go ahead and again paint those spots, but if there are a lot, it kind of gets tedious. So what I normally do is just make sure that there aren't any holes or whatever. Like, even if it doesn't look like there's going to be one, just go ahead and try to cover it up like that. So let's see where that takes us. And there's still space. Oh, sorry. And then I usually just use close small gaps. But then you gotta make sure all the gaps are filled in. Like that. Alright, so that's his hair, and now we can go ahead and color his face. Oops. Eyedrop tool, take that. Bucket tool, paint his face. And luckily there aren't any missed spots or anything. Okay, so let's move on to his shirt. and get that color. And as I said earlier, Flash has kind of an infinite space, so I can't just color it in like that. I'll have to kind of make a border here. Just make sure it's enclosed. Color that, fill that out. Color that. And then we got his skin. Just make sure it's enclosed. And then that's basically it. Most of the time you'll notice that I'm kind of lazy and I don't bother shading or whatever. But if you really want to go the extra distance, just keep in mind where your light source is. So I guess I'll draw that. I guess that's our light source, red hot blazing sun, and let's say it's pointing in this direction. So again, it's up to you if you're lazy, but what I do when I choose the darker shade of a color, I'll just go over here and kind of push this down a few notches, and then that'll be the darker shade of his hair. And then for his skin, turn that down a few notches. And then that's the darker shade of his skin. And then the same thing for his shirt. Alright? So go ahead and select the darker shade of the hair. And what you can do is you can kind of judge the outline of whatever shape the shadow would make. Whatever, it's up to you. And then color that. And then that's it. But sometimes I'm just lazy, so I'll just make a straight line. And that's it. I know it's kind of messy or whatever, but whatever. Sometimes people don't really care. Then we got his skin color. And then just keep in mind, like, the layers of the objects, like putting it into real life situations. If there's hair, then it'll probably cause a shadow, so kind of just shade that or whatever. And then his neck, I mean, you got your chin kind of making a shadow, right? And we got his shirt, and since the light source is going this way, you assume this side would be the darker side. The dark side. Alright? But me being lazy, I'll just draw a straight line and shade that in. And then we can do the same thing for his arms. Yeah? Yeah, you get it? You get it? Alright. But yeah, that's basically it. It's really no big deal. It depends how anal you are about coloring or like the technicalities, but me, I just try to keep it simple, keep it neat and whatnot. But yeah, that's basically it. Hopefully that helped, and yeah, enjoy guys.